Welcome back. I am definitely not a box, and we're going to talk about the 3D Mega Man formula, or lack thereof. In fact, this is more than just a 3D Mega Man formula, it's the lack of innovation in the 3D realm when it comes to Mega Man as a character, or as a franchise to be honest. So first, if you didn't watch my last video, please go watch it now. Links in the bio, please. Anyways, that video does a good job in outlining my thoughts on the Mega Man franchise as it is today. TLDR, I love the franchise, but there's just not any sort of love coming from Capcom when the topic's on Mega Man. A lot, and I mean a lot of fan games like Mega Man X Corrupt, and Mega Man Z Zeta, But there's a lot of good things that the community has done. I will just give you a small snippet right here. As you can see, I want this just as much as every other Mega Man fan does. So 100% support on my end. So what about Mega Man and the 3D? Well, first and foremost, we must address what attempts were made. And we have 3 really good ones and then the horrendous one. No, I am not going to count Command Mission because that's just an RPG. And it's not the same as in 3D open world type game where you actually have movement in the 3-dimensional. So we're going to run through Mega Man Legends, The Misadventure of Trombone, and Mega Man Legends 2. And then we're going to end it on a very sour note by talking about X7, and most importantly, why the game failed. Alright, so let's talk about the good before we talk about the bad and evil. Mega Man Legend is the true Mega Man 3D experience. If you haven't played this old gem, I understand your confusion. So here's the cliff notes. They did 3D Metroidvania on the PS1 and 64, and they did it perfectly. I can't say much about it, right? There isn't much faults to this. The technology wasn't up to speed. Believe it or not, you used to play this game with this controller. As you can see, we're missing 2 very important set of equipment here, but it worked. It absolutely 100% worked. Just look at the gameplay on screen. Mega Man Legend was a great group of concepts. The Misadventure of Trombone is a great fun romp. Just enjoy the world, more on the side characters that people really love. And Legends 2 wasn't really a Metroidvania, but it focused more on expanding the world and the lore, which it went deep on the lore. Like I was like, yo, what? So let's talk why Legends was so good. Every good Metroidvania has one thing and one thing in common: an interconnected map. This is why this game is superb. On an island where you know nothing, have to be a digger and just find out all these shortcuts in the mystery, this is great. This is excellent world building, and this is just this one island. And out of nowhere, this island happens to just have this guy. Yeah, this guy. All of that helped the game have its own identity. It took a different direction when it comes to Mega Man in general. Look, I like these guys. They are iconic. But I am so sick of Wily and Sigma. Like, guys, please just hop off and let me do something with someone else. A new character needs a new angle, something different. Listen, this might sound weird to you guys, but to me, that's why Legend was so great. It was just fresh. Everything was new to me. Everything was a learning experience. And a game story, the actual narrative, is really good to me when the bad guys are really, really good. Either way, love them or hate them, or you love to hate them, I love these guys. These guys, I'm a jam. I side with them every time. I have to shoot them down for the missions, I have to shoot them down for the story, but I side with them. I am Team Bond. Look at my beautiful, beautiful game. Oh, they're so despicable. It's beautiful. And then we have him. But he's alright. He's cool. His cold demeanor and just casual way of speaking with very, and I mean this, very monotone, I don't care vibe is what makes it a very good contract between the Bonds and Juno. I need you all to understand that the presentation here, the emo, and all of the voice acted cutscenes go a long way in making this game stand out for its time. This was way too advanced for its time. In fact, everybody agreed that if this game waited like just 2 years to come out, Legends 1 I mean, it would have been perfect. The controls would have been there for everybody. And that's the one thing that I will have to say strikes against the game, is that the technology wasn't there where they needed it the most. Like I said, the gameplay is good, it is snappy, and it works. It just wasn't a lot of people's cup of tea. Up next, we're going to talk about the misadventures of these scallywags. And first and foremost, look at her. And I like her. She's so smart. Like, ugh. She's so precious. Protect this child. And let her kill everybody. Let her kill everybody. But anyways, the misadventure of Trombones is a very light-hearted take on just pirating in the Mega Man Legends world. They need food, so they go get meat and crab. They need money, so they go treasure hunting. And they just want to cause massive mayhem for the sake of doing that? I mean, listen. This was great. This Rampage mode, I call it Rampage when I was young. But this, this is great. Look at it. You shoot these people. Yes. Burned in my child. Burned. There ain't much I want to talk about this game because it's really just 3 sections. The block puzzle, the Rampage section like I did mention, and the first person, which is the treasure hunting. This game is rare. So if you ever can get it, just get it and enjoy it. Alright? Moving on to Legends 2, this game was focused on explaining the story, the world, and the lore, much like I said before. This has a lot of moving pieces. It's insane. It's like a well-written soap opera. What this game lost in interconnectivity when it came to Legends 1 and its island was more cohesive view and outline of the world and the characters in it. There was a lot, and I mean a lot of major players here. And the trombones still don't, they kind of get lost in the sauce, but it's still good. It's still fantastically good. The writing is still there. New enemies, new layouts, new dungeons. Actually, the dungeons are even more packed than ever. This game is really more action-packed, and it really earns the 2 in Mega Man Legends 2. It's just bigger, badder, and just look at this boss. Look at Mega Man go. Look at him go. He's dancing for his life. God damn. But those 100 questions, I'm not gonna lie. I had to take out a notepad for this. I really did. I did it completely honestly too. We got Legends out the way. Let's not talk about it anymore. Capcom isn't gonna do anything with that series, and it pains me to no end. So let's talk about another series Capcom won't do anything with, and that is the X series, which it pains me to no end, especially since I have to talk about X7. The way I see it, Mega Man X7 fails in 2 major ways. Firstly, it fails with Axel. I don't dislike him. I mentioned this in my last video. I don't dislike him. I think he's a very good character, and there's so much that a character like him can do. But the one thing he can't do is replace X. That was his intention. That was why he was created. The creators, the devs, thought that Mega Man himself was getting a little tired and old, so they wanted someone new, younger, better, stronger. So the story of X7 supports this. X is sick of all the fighting, and it's justified. It aligns with his view. He's all for peace, and yet he keeps assassinating people back to back and killing the same guy who won't stay dead. But it just doesn't feel as a satisfying reason to give it. Because if he's so sick of all the fighting, why isn't he improving the technology around him? As far as we know, X cannot be infected by the Sigma virus. And after X5 and 7, that should be a huge concern for him. So why isn't he working on a way to fix that? If he is, the game never hints at it. Never even goes over that. It just says, I'm sick of the fighting. So I don't want to poke too much holes here, but you know, they could have done a little better. One of the ways they could have justified X being out of commission was that he was corrupted, much like Zero was with the Sigma virus. In fact, he could have a piece of Sigma attached to him, and he's currently in stasis while they try to figure a way to save him. All they needed, boom, bring in a new guy. X is in danger. You can't play as him because he's literally trying to fight for his life, and that, narrowly speaking, makes us want to save him because that's our boy X. So it's a satisfying reason that I can just think off the top of my head. And also, that would be better for X because for once he will be in actual danger, unlike Zero, who has died and became friendly with the Reaper a couple times. I mean, where do you think this drip came from? So that's part one of why I have problems with Axel. The removal of X wasn't satisfying enough to justify having Axel take his place. Number 2. Axel doesn't add anything gameplay wise besides his shapeshifter ability. This is bad. You can introduce a new character with a gimmick, that's perfect. But at the end of the day, they need to have some sort of variation when it comes to the gameplay, especially between Axel and X. They are too similar. I'm pretty sure it was me, but when I first saw Axel and the guns, I assumed they were taking an approach similar to Shadow the Hedgehog, where you just have to pick up the weapons as you go. I thought that was going to be the case, because I saw he picked up a rifle, or he had a rifle in the commercial, then he had a rocket launcher and a shotgun, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm down for this. But that wasn't the case. So instead of just thinking of how cool it would have been, let's just move on to an example of how you can bury the same combat, the same gameplay, but have it different enough where you can have multiple characters use it. We're going to talk about a game made by the same company. Let's talk about Dell Maker 5. Dante, Nero, and V fundamentally play the same. Listen to me when I say this. Fundamentally play the same. I know they're not the same, but hear me out. They have the same button impulse, same motion, and it's the same type of game. Third-person character action game. Yet, each one of them have their own playstyle. Some things do carry over, which is fine. This is the same game, tackling the same type of gameplay. It's only understandable. But it never feels like one character is stepping on another character's toes. Axel, for the most part, in X7 and a little bit in X8, feels like he's trying to fill shoes that are not his. One last game example before moving on to the next one. Near Automata, cause robots, androids, and humanity. We're gonna focus on A2 and B2. Oh my god, I had to redo this section 5 times. I kept saying A's, B's, and 2's too many times. Near Automata creates a justifiable reason why A2 and B2 share the same gameplay. In fact, they're the same character. No, really, in lore, they're the same character because minds are melting together as one. Yo, it's weird, but it's good. The story justifies why one is taken out and replaced by the other one. And again, there's very little difference between the two. One gains a short-term buff. The other one shows you the full moon. that is part one of my reasoning why X7 failed. Axel as a character was poorly implemented. To replace a beloved character whose name is on the box, you need to knock it out of the park with your justifications, and the gameplay of said character needs to be similar but different. Case in point, Dell Maker 4. These two were very similar, but at the end of the day, they're still different. I mean, I like Nero simply because he can do all kinds of stuff. I mean, just look at him. Savage. And I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here for a minute. And why X7 failed to me, because the people making it were either, and I mean this, on a hard crunch schedule, or they just forgot that other 3D games existed. Between Mega Man X7 and X6, that sweet spot had a lot of games come out. Shoot, generation before that, the PS1 era, that has so much goddamn 3D platformers that did the job right. In fact, Devil May Cry came out 2 years before that. So Capcom already had a crew that knew how to make good 3D games. Other companies made really good 3D games as well. Mario Sunshine is a fantastic example of this. Shoot, we don't even have to go that far behind or stay within the same generation. We can go even lower and go to Super Mario 64, a fantastic game with superb controls. Look, my point here, why would you make a game in the 3D realm and not use tips, clues, and lessons learned by other games? I can't for the life of me understand that. The idea of a 3D realm, the third dimension, means you have the liberty to do whatever you want, but you end up picking the safest option, which is just Mega Man in 2.5D with 3D sections. That's all there's to it. So either management, which just didn't know what they were doing, like the head director, or corporate was like, you have to do this, like it or not. And either way, the game suffered greatly for it. The brand as a whole hasn't really recovered since X6 going into X7. Yeah, let's keep going with the rant. This, oh my god, the part that's supposed to be played the fastest, the part where speed, a sense of speed, is supposed to matter, is the slowest part in the game. Oh my god, this is so unbelievably bad. I usually don't like to bash games, but X7 is a special case where though I love Mega Man, I want to punch the crap out of him. I love this characters, this world, this series so much, and just to see it like this, and this to be the second to last game, in fact, the only game in the X series that tackles 3D or attempts to, and this is what we get, it just feels bad, man. It just really feels bad. But let's move on. Sorry for the rant, completely sorry. It was just, I had a lot of feelings towards that topic in particular. I'm gonna do something a little different here. Unlike my last video, shameless plug-in, please go click, comment, like, subscribe. Instead of describing and laying out a foundation where gameplay mechanics or systems could work, in theory, I'm just gonna describe a game, and you tell me if you like it or not. So X wakes up, falling. All he can see is there's a massive landmass above him, and it's getting farther and farther. As he looks down, he sees a lake, and he's about to fall into it, but instinctively he knows to turn on his thrusters, and he barely manages to crash on the water. He stops for a bit and looks around. He notices that it's a serene forest, but not quite what he's expecting it. He understands it's supposed to be somewhat natural, but this is not. Everything is biomechanic. He looks around and he can see himself be the same. He doesn't know what happened. Last he noticed was he had a message from his creator, Dr. Light. Grow, is all he said. As he reflects into his internal system, X noticed that he was supposed to wake after 100 years, but it's been way more than that. The current date is 60XX, but he doesn't have much time to ponder about it. The local fauna has been drawn in by the noise he's made. As he looks around, there's quite a lot of debris around him. He must have fallen with something. Looking back up, he sees that the landmass is quite far and moving away. In fact, he sees floating items, but he doesn't make note of that. The enemies are here. This will be the combat tutorial. Once the threat has been dealt with, he notes that the animals themselves are also biomechanical. Taking a closer look, he can tell that the biomechanical creature in front of him felt natural to him, as he understood everything that led this creature to what it is, as if the creature was born this way. His memory break has no recollection of this. He doesn't understand. Yet he knows this is natural, given the land around him. As he makes his way through the forest, he comes to a clearing in a cliffside. He gets to survey the land around him. Out in the distance, he sees a giant city. His database has no recollection of any of the structures in that city. As the city is drawing power from the neighboring lands, X gets a sense that he has to go there. As he's making his way, he notices that the city is lighting up, and the light around him, the biomechanical energy from the lands, dims down. He feels this is urgent, so he makes haste. So that's all I got. The idea is to find out what's going on between the land and the city. You also might figure out why X is now in 60XX. Now that my pitch is over, these are different games that can have a Mega Man coded paint, have little system changes, and still be pretty damn good 3D games. As I mentioned before, Dell Maker is just a perfect fit. Look at Dante, right? Now imagine if it was Zero. I mean, Zero has a bunch of weapons. Alright. What about X? How would he fit? Well, we have Nero. Nero has a bunch of special arms. Okay, you know, that's weird. What's weird? It doesn't fully work, but maybe I can convince you with Axel. No? I mean, he has nothing but guns and range combat. I mean, just look at V. You see it? You see the picture? Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. This is where my mind is going. Maybe this doesn't convince you. Maybe it's not enough. So what about Metal Gear Solid? Let's just try it. Well, it's a perfect fit for Axel. He's a mimic robot, and if we think about Metal Gear Solid 3, where you have to sneak around using camouflage and the various lights, maybe a darker outfit, this is a perfect fit. X can also just be placed here and just give him a different set of tools to use. It wouldn't be a harsh stretch to say he also kinda camouflages himself, given that he switches color every time he uses a special weapon. Zero wouldn't fit in Metal Gear Solid 3 or 5, but he would fit in Revengeance. Just look at it. Ayo. Come on. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. Revengeance, Zero. In fact, you can just make that work with Axel and, X as well. But again, it's for Zero. We're gonna go to a completely different side of gaming and go into Metro the Other M could be perfect for X. Listen, I know people hate this game, I know people hate the narrative, but I don't care. I'm talking about gameplay right here. Wouldn't it be cool to see X do this? I would love to see X basically do some finishers, some takedowns, just like Samus, because it's cool, it's great. In fact, I wish most robo bosses would destroy with a cool combo, something climactic, much like Dread does sometimes. Now, I know this is going to be a pocket pick. It's going to be my pocket pick. Not a lot of people know this game, and if they do, the game itself doesn't get the love it deserves. I wish it was a franchise, but it never happened. I'm talking about Vanquish. Just, if you can imagine Axel doing this, you can also imagine X doing this. And if you just switch the rules a little, you can also imagine Zero doing this. This is a perfect action game. And I believe, since it's mechanical, it can also have a nice coat of Mega Man skin on it, you know what I mean? Maybe give him a ultimate armor, you know? Just saying, just like, it works. It really does. So hopefully you guys see where I'm coming with this at this point. You see the lines I'm drawing, because it goes the same way with the next game I'm introducing, which will be XCOM. Listen, there are how many hunters at HQ? Too much. Just too much. So imagine you have an XCOM type gameplay going around with the X franchise. It ain't just Zero, and it ain't just X and Axel as the only hunters. There'll be more. And given the, you know, since we'll be having a breadth of a lot of new hunters, you can even make your own customizable hunter that just does cool stuff. Just a little. It will be like Sonic Forces, but better because it's XCOM. I mean, if Mario can do it, I don't see any reason why Mega Man can't do it. So, you know, roguelike, it's a game genre that can just fix itself into many different games. I can see it working for Mega Man. In fact, I'm just gonna show you 30XX. Please go buy that game. It's really good. Support the dev. And lastly, an RPG. I know command mission is a thing. I love the game, but it wouldn't hurt to hire a writer, a good one, please. And that's all. That's all I really got. You can make a Souls-like, but like, why would you? You can do a lot with the Mega Man franchise. The purpose of the last section was just to introduce different ways that 3D Mega Man could be, by using different games for you to visualize in your head. Okay, so hopefully you guys see what I mean by Capcom hasn't done much with Mega Man when it comes to the 3D realm. In fact, you can just say it took a first step, stumbled, got scared, and went back to its old ways. This wouldn't be a bad thing, except that we're not getting any Mega Man games in general. And I know some will say, well, Mega Man Dive counts. I understand your sentiment, I understand. Some of these designs, some of these, well, hunters, I guess, they're really cool. Let's take a moment to appreciate this for a second. Yeah, this is awesome. But I believe Mega Man is solely a console franchise. I don't want it on my phone. I want an actual game developed with it. Like, I guess it's hard because I want respect for this IP. Alright, so that's everything I got on Mega Man. That's all my thoughts, my feelings, put into a nice two-part visual essay. Before I end this, I do have a couple announcements. One, about going forward. I do want to do the Sonic, but given the Sonic Frontier might be out within a couple months unless it gets delayed, I'm gonna have to wait. I'm not gonna just give out an idea on how 3D sucks with Sonic or how Sega doesn't know what to do with Sonic if they're gonna try something new. Gotta give them their fair shake, be patient, digest the game, and then give it a fair review plus a critique. That's why you're not gonna get a Sonic video yet. So for the next video, I'm gonna give in this exact sequence. It's gonna be one about Genshin Impact, the game itself, a review, and quality of life that can go into it, making it a lot better for the players. And after that, I'm gonna give a nice little deep dive into Elden Ring. I'm gonna talk about the game, its systems, its end game, and now that I have enough time to digest it, give it a critique as well. I'm gonna start doing game reviews, and if need be, those reviews will also become critique. So we get the good, the bad, the ugly, the changes it could have made, or things that the developers could do in the future that improve the overall player experience. As we all know, gaming is a very interactive medium, and the player experience, to me, matters above all. So this has been another video, but definitely not a box. I'm a bit confused about my existential crisis. Let's stop and figure out what I am, and I'll see you on the next one.